Yeah, hello, my name is Carlos Spector. I'm a graduate of the College of Liberal Arts in 1978.
What does being a gold nugget mean to you?
Well, it was a pleasant surprise, um, and I'm very proud of it. Um, Very happy to be able to be celebrated in my hometown. I've received awards throughout the country every once in a while, but this is the first time I've been recognized in El Paso at this level. And the fact that it comes from UTEP, or as my father called it, Texas Western College of Mines, means a lot because there's no place like home.
So, what kind of messages do you receive since the announcement was made?
Well, I think they can, the messages I've received, I think, have to be categorized into two types. One is very personal. People are proud of me. My family's proud of me. They're happy I was selected. And then, uh, and then somewhat surprised that an alumni was recognized for their work in human rights. They were trying to recall when the last time, if any, that a human rights activist uh, uh, or attorney had been so named. And so the fact that that was the case was a really pleasant surprise, especially at the times that we're living. I remember I loved Dr. Rivera and Dr. Stoddard, and they couldn't be more different. Dr. Stoddard was a scholar, a borderland scholar, very well known, one of the founders of borderland scholars, but very, very conservative. And Dr. Julius Rivera, who was a liberation theology Colombian socialist academician. And I loved them both and learned from both of them and was able at a very young age, at least in my college years, to be able to appreciate both both positions, both analysis, and and also learn to balance life between opposing forces that weren't what we would call unfriendly terms. My advice would be to just stick it out and roll with the punches. Every generation has its challenges. Every challenge should be turned into a new experience. And the fact that they're having to do things that no other generation has done or been confronted with is the challenge of their time. I was a veteran, and it was a little difficult readjusting to civilian life. Plus, I was on the GI Bill, but of course I was living alone, and I had to work, uh, and was taking 18 hours full load. And so it was a challenge surviving and doing the academic work uh, at UTEP, and the professors were very accommodating, but that was, I think, the biggest challenge for me. I had a lot of support from my family, and I had a lot of support from especially during my graduate years, a lot of support and understanding from the UTEP sociology department in terms of being accommodating with the type of contact I would have with the department, especially when I was writing my thesis. So it was a collective effort. I mean, for me, my engagement has been uh, being able to reach out to the Center for Inter-American Border Studies and other scholars to help me put together a Mexican asylum class that I taught in 2 different semesters. But I think it's truly a historic period in American history. There is so much conflict and cultural wars and dissent in the country that it is really made it incumbent upon this generation of students, activists, and people of goodwill speak out and have their voices heard. And so it's a timely award. I cherish it. I appreciate it, and I understand and appreciate the moment in which we're living and what this means to me, and also to, let's say, the human rights movement and the civil rights struggle, in as much as it is a formal recognition of the importance of this work by a very well-known university, UTEP, and especially being along the border with many of the issues being faced by the country centered around the border. The biggest piece of advice I can give from my experience really is that it's not a question of either doing public interest social work and or going into the private sector. I think my biggest contribution to my profession is the fact that I am a public interest human rights attorney working in the private context. That is to say, my law firm funds my human rights work. And I think it's a model that can be uh, copied by young attorneys. In fact,
Okay, and then for the fun question, we're miners forever. Finish the sentence. We are miners forever, stronger together because.
porque somos de la frontera y no nos rajamos.
That's cool. Give me a picks up on that.
All right. Those of us who come back to El Paso after having lived abroad uh, appreciate El Paso. And I think anybody who's from El Paso should live El Paso as a young person, because that would make you appreciate El Paso for what it is and for what it does to you as a human being.